Hello everyone. Now in my nostalgia trip I did go a bit crazy. I did. But you have to understand that when a fragrance gets this critically low, you have to repurchase. If it's a good fragrance at least. And Eau Sauvage is not a good fragrance, it is a perfect fragrance. I could never be without it. Now, of course, I went ahead and got myself a bottle. It's a huge bottle. It's a huge 200 milliliter bottle to wash away my sins for ever purchasing this small of a bottle, which is a 50 milliliter bottle from, let's see, the year is 2016, which, you know, it doesn't matter. At Eau Sauvage, when it comes to Eau Sauvage batch codes, stupid, irrelevant, it doesn't matter. This is a perfect fragrance. Always be, always been, always will be. My cat's talking to me again. Okay. So I went ahead and got myself this huge bottle of 200 milliliters. It doesn't have an atomizer. It's a splash bottle, and yes, it's the Eau de Toilette, not the aftershave or something. There you can see. Hopefully, if yeah. So in order to use it, now I have to I have to decant myself. Serves me right. For going all greedy and getting myself this huge bottle, but it's fine. And I do like the design of the big bottles, because now Eau Sauvage Parfum has a brother. Just look at them, how fat they are. I'm fat shaming my Dior bottles. Do you want to also smell Eau Sauvage Parfum in this video? Maybe we'll get to it as well. Now, Eau Sauvage is, you know, what could I possibly say about Eau Sauvage? I think I've spoken about this so many times. It is one of my go-to reference scents when it comes to a fresh citrus scent that's built like a classic. It's like the textbook architecture of a classic eau de cologne done by Edmond Roudnitska in 1966 or say, I don't know. It's from the 60s. It's from 66. I think it's a cousin of Abbey Rouge, and I don't think I'm wrong at all. Not because this one is very rosy, but because of the way citrus and oak moss play the role in the freshness and the not the harshness, because it's not a harsh fragrance, although some people may consider it harsh, and compared to Eau de Cartier, which I just finished filming, it is definitely harsher. But in terms of maybe early barbershoppy, fougere, chypre kind of manly man fragrances, if that makes sense. So I think, yeah, I think I'm not wrong when saying this. I think I should also compare it to the fragrance that I already have, which is, you know, a slightly older Eau Sauvage, but it shouldn't, I'm telling you, it shouldn't and it won't matter. Oh, this is also well, of course there will be differences. This is a very old bottle, and this has so much oxygen in it, so we shouldn't waste time with this. This fragrance is the epitome of citrus, and if you ask me, there are also ambergris hints in this, not because it's aquatic, not because it's animal, but just because it has this, again, very lemony, very metallic kind of facets of citrus and ambergris, if that makes sense. So ambergris has this weird citrus facet in fragrances, and I think you can smell it here as well. There are many examples of you know, Dolce & Gabbana light blue comes to mind, right? Where the citrus is just so powerful and pungent, it cannot be citrus alone. Now, if I'm wrong, I will stand corrected. Now, another thing to be said about this fragrance is the way it's constructed. It's almost constructed as a chypre, with nothing else but the top notes that kind of, you know, carry this fragrance, because there are no base notes to speak of in this fragrance. Of course, sure, there's lavender, there's vetiver in this, there's oak moss in this, but they're not overt. They're not what you will always be able to tell is the citrus notes, to tell apart the citrus notes, the green notes, especially the basil and the rosemary, and the sweet, mild, floral aspects of the jasmine, which is, you know, jasmine, hedione, who cares? Well, I know there are people that care, but I'm not among them. And I think the use of the jasmine kind of rounds up everything so nicely. And it kind of helps to, you know, to soften the harshness of the citrus. Basil also does this, but it is one of those fragrances where the harshness of the citrus is something expected, because harsh citric notes are always fresher and more tonic, and they awaken the senses, and it is very, very good. You need this sometimes. Just imagine dousing yourself in Eau Sauvage and in high summer, right? In the high summer heat, you need those harsh citrus notes. And I just realized I'm filming a video about Eau Sauvage when it is the first day of snow where I'm from. I don't even know the date for today. It's the 18th of November. I don't care. I'm against the trend. Always will be. So let's briefly, just because I am missing it. I'm always missing this. Can't pick the blotter up from the table, Jesus. Eau Sauvage Parfum. Let's just briefly remind ourselves of this beauty. Now, oh goodness. There's a lot of people who will tell you there are absolutely no meeting points between Eau Sauvage, the Eau de Toilette. Yes. No meeting points between Eau Sauvage Eau de Toilette and Eau Sauvage Parfum. And they are simply wrong, because when Demachy created Eau Sauvage Parfum, he clearly had Eau Sauvage Eau de Toilette in mind. And let me explain. Eau Sauvage Parfum is created as a chypre. And of course, the fragrances are very, very wildly dissimilar. It's not as simple as saying this is the parfum version of, or Eau de Parfum version of this Eau de Toilette, because it's not. But there are hints. Let me just grab my cat, as he won't shut up unless he's being held. There are, so Eau Sauvage Parfum was created as a chypre with bergamot, myrrh, or you know, any type of resin. I think it was changed for, the notes were changed for elemi in the later variant, and who cares, they're very similar. I do not care. Oh, by the way, everything is discontinued now. This is discontinued, the newer version is discontinued. Bye bye masterpiece, goodbye forever. Okay, but they just launched some Baccarat bottle of Sauvage, because yeah, you know, that's where the money is, right? Not here. Bergamot, myrrh, or a resin, and vetiver. And this is very, very heavy. The parfum, Eau Sauvage Parfum, is very, very heavy on vetiver, because it's sticky, sweet, syrupy vetiver. With the myrrh is very mushroomy. It's a mushroomy, earthy myrrh. And the bergamot, with its sweetish, floral, orangey aspects. It's just, it's a gorgeous scent, right? Now, what the meeting points stand in the architecture, right? Because this was thought of as a chypre, and this has almost the architecture of a very light chypre. The citrus is almost is another meeting point between the two, and the jasmine. So nobody's talking about the jasmine in this, because there is jasmine in this. I smell it, so it must be there. I don't know if it's definitely not overt jasmine, but it's not overt here as well. And it's this faint white floral. Again, it might be an aspect of just an aspect of the bergamot, who cares? But it's here, and it kind of rounds everything out. It rounds out the harshness of the vetiver. It gives the myrrh its, you know, soothing, oily feel. This is so masterfully done. So beautiful. And back to Eau Sauvage, I think, when smelling them together, the vetiver is very pronounced now in this, which again is another meeting point between these two fragrances. This is such a beautiful scent, Eau Sauvage Eau de Toilette. I will never be without it. And I know I've spoken about this briefly in the first video I filmed in this series, Nostalgia Scents, with Eau de Guerlain. Again, this is sort of a sister, brother, cousin fragrance to Eau Sauvage. And also another distant cousin, very distant cousin, is this one, Le Frenchie by Guerlain, which is discontinued. Who cares? Who cares? Everything is discontinued now. As I said, I think more than 70% of what you see behind me is discontinued now. It makes me laugh. I don't even know how to cope with this. So this was Eau Sauvage from me. If you've got any other questions, do let me know in the comments. And until next time, remember, fragrance creates memories, and may yours be happy.